Look, on the last video, I said we're going to talk about a bunch of different genocides that happened last year, a lot of what's going on even right now with all these wars and conflicts. But before we even get there, we have to talk about what genocide actually is, how it becomes a thing, and the process that it takes to get there. Because it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't just happen one day in a war. It's a process of mistreatment, of discrimination, of hate that leads to a genocide. And so on this quick video, I want to really dive into the 10 stages of genocide. This is a list that was put out by Dr. Stanton at Mary Washington University back in the 90s. He has been working towards preventing genocide, and he put together this list of 10 stages of genocide. And what he would say is that you go through each of these stages in order to get to a place where genocide is occurring, where you're actually committing it. Now, there's different definitions of what a genocide actually looks like when you identify it, but you can't get there until you hit these stages. And so I want to talk about these stages today, just really quickly, just to give you a brief overview of what it takes to get to a place where a group of people experience a genocide. And so let's just walk through them. So the first stage is classification. Classification, so basically, is us and it's them. You create hard divisions, hard lines between groups of people. It can be based on their race, on their religion, ethnicity. It could be nationality, immigration status. It could be anything that you could use to divide people. You make sure that there's a clear division, right? We are us and they are them, and something needs to change. We're not compatible. We're not going to be able to exist together. And so this is the first stage of a genocide, because when you have those classifications, you start to segregate, you start to separate, you start to live different lives, have different views of the world, and things can get worse. Second stage, according to Dr. Stanton, is symbolism. So now, not only have you classified people, but you're labeling them and you're stamping them with different symbols, different images that show that they are not us, right? They are not like us, right? You give them certain names that you can use when you identify them, right? They're not, part of our country. They're not part of our group. They are blank, whatever they are. And they're different from us, right? They wear different kind of clothes. They have a different kind of culture, a different type of lifestyle. Look at how they act. They all, wear this kind of clothing. They all have these marks on their body. They all have this. And if you don't have that you can point to, you might give it to them. You might stamp them with it, right? So the Nazis gave Jews a yellow star. Other groups would have scars, would have different ways of identifying people specifically to separate them from the rest of us. Right? That's the second stage. It's clear. We all can see the difference. And you know what? You're not like us. And now we can see who is who. The third stage, discrimination. Discrimination, right? It's not enough to separate. It's not enough to label. It's not enough to name. Now we're treating you differently. Now we're treating you worse than the rest of us, right? So the dominant group, either dominant in numbers or dominant in power or influence or money, doesn't have to be just numbers. It could be status even. That dominant group will start to discriminate on the other group, right? They'll deny them rights, deny them opportunities to discuss, matters that pertain to the society. They start using the laws and start using their own culture and customs to deny the rights of those other people. That's what ends up happening in this third stage. You're discriminated against. You might be stripped of your citizenship. You might be unable to vote. You might be unable to buy a house or go to a certain school. You get discriminated against because of who you are, not for any other reason, because you're being discriminated against. We're at the third stage now of a genocide. We're getting there. Now, obviously, at each stage, if you stop the stage, then maybe we won't get to the full-on genocide that might take place. But we're walking down that road. Classification, symbolization, discrimination. This is the next one, dehumanization. This is one of the worst aspects of a genocide, because now those people that you've discriminated against, that you've separated from society, they're less than human, right? They're animals. They're an infestation. They're second class, third class, fourth class. They're a stain, a cancer, a disease, parasite, a leech sucking the life out of our world, out of our country, out of our place. That's how you start treating them. And that's how you start describing them when you see them. This is who they are. And it happens, oh my goodness, when you are in a society that begins to dehumanize, you cannot escape it. It's in the newspapers, it's on the radio, it's online, it's everywhere. Continuous hate, propaganda. Every little news story gets blown up to dehumanize an entire population. This is how it starts. Hate speech. All of this is working its way towards a genocide. This is a necessary stage because you can't eliminate a group of people unless you believe they're not actually people. They're not actually worthy of any rights or due process or any kind of protection. These people are not people, and therefore it's okay to get rid of them, to remove them permanently from where we are. That's what dehumanization does. And it's the fourth stage. And so that's bad enough. It's bad enough. We keep moving down. But now, right, you got to get organized. Organization. So now you can see the forces, you can see the people, you can see militaries, and you can see militias, and you can see probably the government itself mobilizing and organizing to figure out a way to get rid of these people. We got to get them out of here. We don't want them here. They shouldn't exist in our society. And so that is what's happening in this fifth stage. This is what's taking place. And what usually happens is you have smaller kind of militia groups, right? Little pop-ups here and there, groups getting together and say, we're going to do it by force. We're going to take care of it ourselves. And if they exist in a country that agrees with the reality they want to get rid of a certain group, then they'll be supported by that government. They'll be given space to operate. They'll be given weaponry to use. They'll be given support from the police force, from the local city officials, from the ministers and the elected officials at every level to organize and carry it out, right? They won't do it themselves directly in most cases, but they will support the groups that want to do it, and they will have their full backing as they move and grow and prepare to do their worst, to take out whoever it is that they believe doesn't belong. That is what will happen. That's the fifth stage. It's organization. And then the sixth stage is polarization. Polarization. So now there's no middle ground. There's no moderation. There's no, cooler heads will prevail. Let's get some moderate voices here to bring people together. There's none of that. Because when you're trying to get rid of a group, you don't need anybody getting in the way. So it doesn't matter which side you're on. It doesn't matter. If you're the group being marginalized and discriminated and dehumanized, and you try to step out and calm things down, bring peace, you're going to get taken out. If you're from the dominant group and you say, hey, this isn't right, we shouldn't treat people this way, we should figure out how we can resolve our differences and live together in peace, you'll get taken out too. Because the people who want to commit genocide don't have time to deal with these moderate voices, these moderating figures who want peace and unity and tranquility and rights for all. And no, you gotta go. And these militia groups, these hate groups, these people who are saying these things online, on television, wherever they are, they will put a target on the backs of people who want to be those moderate voices, be those moderate leaders, and prevent a genocide. They'll be the ones to talk about them, to smear them. And in many cases, if it's a state-sponsored approach to removing this group, they'll be imprisoned. They'll be put on trial under false charges and silenced so that we can move forward with what we're trying to do. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to do genocide. We're trying to get them out of here. We're not trying to do anything other than that. And so the polarization begins. The distance between the two groups politically, socially. It grows and it grows and it grows to the point where you just have two extremes who can't get along, and that makes the ground perfect for a genocide. Perfect. Because now I can say, look, they're being unreasonable. They're being ridiculous. Look at how they're talking about us, how they're treating us, how they're operating within our great country, our great place. Look at what they're doing. Well, that's because you eliminated all of the moderate voices who weren't saying that, who wanted peace, who wanted things to come together. That's what you did. That's what you did. And there's no end to how far people will go to ensure that there is deep polarization in these kind of societies, right? You can't marry across cultures. They'll ban it. You can't have organizations that include both groups in the same group trying to work together. You'll ban it. You'll defund it. You'll dismantle it because you need that polarization to get to the next step, the next phase, the next stage, which is preparation. Now you've discriminated, you've dehumanized, you've polarized, and now people agree that we have a problem. We have a problem. And so what do we need? A solution. And you probably heard the term final solution, right? This is going to be the final solution to our blank problem, right? Jewish problem, Armenian problem, whatever the problem is, you're going to have a final way of dealing with it. And you know the terms, you know how it goes. You know how it goes. We're going to purify our land. You're going to purify it? These people are contaminating. Is that what you're saying? Yes, that's what you're saying. We're purifying, we're cleansing, we're working to remove the dangerous elements from among us. Like all of these euphemisms and all of these phrases to try to get you to believe that something positive is happening is the way they're describing their desire to do a genocide, period. That's all that is. Don't get confused. Don't believe the propaganda. Don't believe the lies that somehow there's a group of people, the entire group, who is a problem for a country or a society. That's not the case. That's never been the case. So whatever the problem is, these genocidal groups, these genocidal governments are going to rid themselves of that problem. And once they start planning it and preparing and mobilizing, look, it's about to be over. It's about to be over. Then the persecution starts, right? Now we get going. The genocide's in full force now. You're going town to town, village to village. You're snatching people up. You're taking them out, taking out their kids. You're ruining their societies. You're invading their spaces, their homes, their schools, their churches, their places to gather. And you're persecuting this group of people. You are persecuting them. You're hauling them off to concentration camps. You're restricting their neighborhoods and their villages of vital resources, making life as hard for them as possible, ruining their ability to take care of themselves. Straight genocidal persecution. That's what's happening. And that's what you're doing. You're at the 8th stage. And so in my view, I mean, we've already got the genocide. It's going now. It's happening. There's no way around the fact that this is what you're doing. This is what you're seeking to accomplish, and it's happening right now. The massacres, right? You go through a town, you kill everybody. You imprison all the kids. You violate the women that are in those towns. The genocide's on and going. The 9th stage, it's extermination. And it's just what it sounds like. Mass killings, whether it's through actual violent killings or whether it's through restricting vital needs, supplies, whether it's through destroying a society so it's unlivable and now you can't even survive where you used to live. You're restricting aid from coming in to make sure they don't get what they need. As you exterminate, as you kill and destroy, it's stage 9. This is a genocide. This is what's going on. And the worst part about it is they start exterminating, the group that's being killed retaliates, and it continues to escalate higher and higher, more and more killing, more and more destruction, and there seems to be no way out. The genocide's going. It's going, and that's it. And that's it. Look, at stage 9, I think we're pretty much in genocidal land territory, there it is. But there's one more stage, according to Dr. Stanton. That stage is denial, which is really interesting. So the people who commit genocide will deny that they did commit a genocide. What do you think about that? We actually didn't. It's not what you think. This happens all the time. As we talk about these genocides happening now, you'll see the denials. You'll see the rejections of the label. We're not committing a genocide. We're blank. Protecting our people, protecting our land, upholding justice, removing terrorists. We're the good guys. We're not actually committing a genocide. We didn't do anything wrong. This is exactly what needs to happen. And you say, okay, that's fine. If you believe that, then let's do it. Let's look into it. How about an investigation? How about a little analysis to see what's really going on? Nope. Then they block it. They say, no, you can't come in. You can't see what's going on. You can't talk to anybody. You can't interview anyone. You can't talk to any of our officials. No investigation. Okay. Well, where are the people? They used to be here. They're not here anymore. We don't know. You know, you put them in mass graves. You burn the bodies up. You intimidate people who told them to get out of town before their families next. You did everything you could to make sure that nobody has any evidence that you've actually committed a genocide. But we always find out. The truth always comes out. We'll always know that you committed a genocide. We know. And so these are the 10 stages. These are the 10 stages of genocide. This is what it is. So when you see a society where there's deep polarization, when you see a society that has rampant discrimination against one particular group of people, when you see a society where there's hate being spewed in one direction constantly, wherever you look, wherever you go, when you pull up social media, when you watch the news, if you read a paper, whatever it is continuous hate speech, propaganda about who these people truly are. You better be careful. You better be careful, because a genocide is possible. It could be coming to your town. When you start seeing, and I get it, you might be part of the dominant group. You might be in the group where you feel like, look, there's a fringe, but we don't all believe that. We don't all think that way. Why would we? We don't think like that. We don't agree with those fringe ideas about this other group of people. Well, be careful. That fringe could become the dominant view of the group. That fringe could work hard to push out any other views that might be more moderate or more, unifying. That could happen. And guess what? You're on your way. You're on your way. When the government gets involved with their resources, be very careful, especially in smaller countries, smaller places where people aren't really paying attention. People don't really know. That minority group that you might have heard a little bit about, yeah, it could be them, right? That small Muslim group over there, that small Christian population over there, that small, group of Jews that immigrated from this country or that country, that's those small non-Muslims in that big Muslim country. It could happen. So you need to be careful. You need to recognize that these are the stages. This is how it happens. This is how it moves forward. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen in an instant. It's a process, and you need to be aware of it so that when you start to see the drift, you start to see the changes in where you live, in how people are talked about, in how things are going, you can be on guard to know that a genocide is on the way. It's on the way. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you get a bigger and broader understanding of how you get from a society that seems to be going well, that seems to be welcoming and loving, to a genocidal one. It's 10 stages. And so keep that in mind. Next time I see you, we're going to talk about what these definitions of genocide are, and then we're going to start talking about these specific genocides that are happening. And I want you to think about where you live, think about what's going on where you are, like and subscribe to this video, keep following the content. We're going to keep talking about it. I don't know how long. There's so many things happening in the world, but genocide is something that we have to really make sure we discuss and discuss thoroughly. So until then, stay strong, stay safe. I'll see you on the next one.